All right, we have a really, really interesting video that just came up on my YouTube algorithm. It's 6 days old. It only has 22 views, but the title is like omega catchy to me, given the situation and the scenario that we're in currently. And that is, here's the title, very juicy: The Psychology of Star Citizen Whales. So let's see what this is all about. The channel's name is Church of Star Citizen. I'm going to link the channel because it's a brand new channel. Here's what we always do with new channels. We copy the link. We share them with you guys that we've never seen before. We watch one video from them. That's it. Okay? His YouTube channel's name is Star Shittyzen. That's his handle. So we'll see how this one goes. It's probably going to be pretty bad. Yeah, everyone hop on the couch and listen to your psychologist, Star Shittyzen.
Star Citizen has a whale problem, and I don't mean the space whales that were promised in Orison years ago. I'm talking about the whales that are enabling CIG to go full Nintendo. The typical Star Citizen whale lives in a worship bubble. They believe they're in a special mission because this is a different kind of game that requires protection from outside forces they believe cannot see the bigger picture. They also believe these outside forces, aka sane people, cannot possibly understand what it takes to make the game that will change gaming.
Honestly, true. Though, like, he's not taking this from anywhere other than reading comments of people who literally say exactly what he just said. Subbed. Yep. So far, excellent.
Star Citizen whale is like a Christian eagerly waiting for Jesus to return so that they can shove their holy middle finger at all those people who didn't believe. This is a very accurate analogy, and if you go back to the beginning of the video when I said the whales we were promised in Orison, that's right, I'm a Star Citizen too, and that's
I'm not religious, so I don't know if that was offensive or not. I grew up Catholic. I'm not offended by that, but I'm sure somebody would be.
Precisely why I made this channel, to push back at the church that's blinding you about the return of the Holy One. When criticized, the Star Citizen whale will say things like, you don't need to spend that much money on the game, or what I do with my money is none of your concern, and this exact mentality is the reason why CIG has realized they can do whatever they want.
The only thing I'm offended by is your hairline. Okay. I mean, dude, the guy on the thing is, you know, a few steps further along than I am. So what are you offended by me for? No offense, brother. We're all going to be in the same spot soon.
So I have a message for you dumb motherfuckers.
Squeak looks fine. This is not Squeaks, dude. This is not Squeaks. But hold on, we got to go back.
This exact mentality is the reason why CIG has realized they can do whatever they want. So I have a message for you dumb motherfuckers. Your actions are ruining the game, or lack thereof, that normal people like us who love space games pledged for. With that said, you
all right, so that's obviously his opinion, right? I agree with that opinion, but it's always going to be hard in this, like, they use this stuff with the like, it's a sandbox, I can do whatever I want, blah, 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 kind of thing. But what he's saying here is the true root of the problem that I think a lot of people, and then most people, aren't playing Star Citizen 4, and CIG is taking feedback from the people who don't recognize this as an issue at all, right? It's really, really simple here. It is straight up, the lack of understanding that the action of you purchasing a spaceship during the alpha can and will have an effect on the launch and 20 years from now in the game. CIG has been making decisions lately more than ever around their game design, and they're basing it off of the fact that they sell items, including power, like spaceships, components, flight blades, all these things, armor, weapons, on the store. And this man, myself included, are very frustrated by the fact that there are other ways of monetization that are not great, but they're way better than these. And the frustration isn't that you're spending money. The frustration isn't that somebody else is making money. There's not like jealousy here. Like you see that in YouTube comments, like when YouTubers get rich or whatever, because they're, doing a really good job. People get jealous about how much money they're making, stuff like that. That is not the issue here from anybody. I think most people want CIG to be really successful, but they don't want them to be really successful while ruining the game, right? I'm offended by his jacket collar not being down, though. Me too. Do you think he's doing that on purpose?
You shouldn't maliciously judge the Star Citizen whale. After all, this is a video to explain their behavior and why they do what they do. Going back to the GTA 5 years, I remember spending lots of money on shark cards. I was completely...
All right, so this guy's a whale. Okay. So you're a GTA whale, but you're not a Star Citizen whale. Okay.
Immersed in that game, and I just had to have the coolest vehicles. But once you get out of that bubble, you realize what a fool you were. Similarly, the Star Citizen whale lives in a very deep bubble, and the reality of what CIG is doing are but faint sounds in the distance, as are the huge red flags that they choose to ignore. I've been a Star Citizen for about 6 years now,
Okay.
and I have spent about $900 in...
And we act like this is not a lot. Right? Are we going to pull off, like, because other people spend $40,000, that 900's not a lot? I feel like that's where we're going to go. I'm going to let him go. But I feel like he's saying that as in, like, only 900. You know what I mean?
In the game, and I probably would be a whale if only I had the financial means. To me, Star Citizen is...
Like he just said, I probably would be a whale. $900 on a video game, you are a whale. You're just a baby, though. You're a baby whale, but you spend $900 on a video game that is not out. Now, I've done the same thing. I've done worse. But I'm not pretending like I didn't. And I have the same kind of, like, to use his terms, kind of come to Jesus moment where I was like, I'm literally ruining the game for myself by buying these ships. I felt I had to, as a creator, to show people the ships because that was the only content you had back in the day. So I was buying them. I was melting. I was buying. I was melting, all that stuff. And I realized very quickly that, like, the game was literally ruined by me doing this, right?
Everything. I've never loved another game like I love this one. The level of immersion and pleasure I've experienced in other games don't even come close to the ones I've had in Star Citizen. This game is the best escape from reality that I've ever seen, and that's the biggest factor keeping Star Citizen whales swimming in the ocean of lies that CIG has created.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the...
But it's also keeping idiots like you and me, because we're literally in the same boat here, that, like, the immersion, the locations, some of the things that you're sitting there going, oh man, if they only didn't just keep fucking up and putting flight blades and selling guns for ships and selling weapons instead of cosmetics for those weapons, right? Like, we keep going, oh, if they didn't just do this, and then they keep pushing further and further and further and further and just make it worse and worse and worse. They've never made it better, right? They've never made it better, but we all just sit there because holy shit, that worm fight was incredible yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, we're just sitting there eating it up still because the game still has a chance. The game still has a chance. Why are people comparing it to a sub? I'd much rather spend that money on a sub and not buy a single thing. Because the money will equal. So, like, $900 in 3 years is equal to a $20 subscription, right? That's why they'll do that. They'll compare the money to it. But what they don't compare is the developer, when you have a sub, has to make the game worth playing. But a developer, when you buy spaceships, has to make the spaceship worth buying. And they don't make that equation when they make that argument, right?
very lies that burst my personal whale bubble. The biggest one, and probably the one that woke me up really hard, was deleting posts from Spectrum. But you might think, well, it's a social platform, so they have to filter what's being
My dude got a post ban. That's what this video is all about.
said, right? Nah. Posting negative criticism that gets lots of attention is very likely to trigger deletion. That's right, and I cannot tolerate this behavior. Silencing people? CIG wasn't like that.
Do you like, there's straight TOS that if you mention firing an employee, they delete it. If you mention like financial stuff, they delete it. I don't agree with that shit. I literally don't, but it's right there, right? So you can't really, like, I don't think that they've done anything like super out of line in terms of their TOS is like straight up right there. I literally do not agree with the TOS. Literally do not agree with the way they do it. I don't agree with nearly any of it. It's a forum. It should be an open forum. You should be able to communicate yourself. It was very healthy to watch EVE Online and how they allowed their community to speak their mind during their CitizenCon event. And they were saying gnarly stuff. And they were very critical of the company during it. And it was nice, right? He's right, though. I've been deleted by Knight Rider CIG when a critical response got traction and likes more than once. Yeah, but what was the context of that? What was in it, right? Because mine was incredibly critical. It was at the top. What I'm asking is, there's been way too many times where I've went to both Knight Rider and Xylo way back in the day and said, well, maybe not Knight Rider, but Xylo for sure, and said, I don't like the way you guys are handling this. I'm having people come to me and saying you're deleting posts criticizing you about X, Y, or Z. And Xylo would just be like, oh, well, we never did anything like that. Give me proof. And I asked for proof. Nobody gives me anything. So I'm not going to defend you guys, and I'm not going to defend the way they handle Spectrum unless you literally give proof of the exact post that you posted and then before it got deleted. So then I could be like, yeah, that's ridiculous. So it's hard for me to sit here and say, oh, they deleted your post. That's, and then try and dogpile on them for that. I don't know what your post says. I don't know what it's about. I don't know. Did you break any of their TOS? Did you give them an easy opportunity for you to get deleted? Because I've posted some ridiculous shit on Spectrum and I've never gotten it deleted. But I wonder if I'm getting special treatment because if I get something deleted, they know I'm going to raise the alarm. You know what I mean? Like, you guys in a Twitch chat aren't going to raise any alarms in their minds, probably. But so far, it hasn't happened to me.
10 years ago, so what the hell happened? And the Star Citizen whale will turn a blind eye to that because in their minds, while they secretly admit that deleting posts is nasty, in the grand scheme of things, the game has to be protected at all costs. The Star Citizen whale really believes they're in this holy mission alongside Chris Rock.
Oh, no. The game doesn't have to be protected. The company does from these. It's the company. So these whales usually own their own companies, things like that, right? So they always come from the perspective of it's a business. Their job is to make money, is to make profit. And it's like, okay, yeah, but it's like also supposed to be to like develop a game.
Roberts
and tech.
Star Citizen whale, in his mind, doesn't even think he's part of the same group as the ordinary players. The whale believes they are more like in a leadership circle of a church and that the believers are in a separate membrane, and the pastor knows that.
And where did this mentality come from in the Star Citizen community? Could it possibly be that we opened forums for people who specifically spent $1,000 or more on a video game? Could that be why maybe this has happened? I don't know.
Most Star Citizen whales are actually older folk. They're Army veterans, retirees, and aged 40 or above.
All right, stop calling me out. Okay, come on.
They really believe they're holding the line as the game gets an inch closer to release.
Yeah, here's one that is being posted. Do not discuss moderation actions, customer service details, or probations in forums or chat. So that's the one that I do not agree with exclusively. Or mostly, because you can't discuss that they are handling their shit incorrectly. You can't discuss it on the forums. They instantly delete it. I hate that one.
Release every day. I do not believe Star Citizen is a scam. I believe it's gone full corporate, and despite loving the game so much, I have to shit on this company. There are many successful Star Citizen YouTubers that are not whales, and despite the fact that they have spent whale level money on the game, they can't really make videos criticizing the project too much, or their channel will suffer. And that's
maybe? You think he's referencing like Morpheer? Because like when Morph was covering ships, he was like the new guy. He was super positive, and then the moment he started having an opinion, people started getting mad at him. So I don't know.
perfectly fine. Their channels are businesses after all, and it's okay to be neutral. Now let's talk about the pastor himself, Chris Roberts. Anyone with half a brain would realize how much less in contact with the community he has become over the years.
Yeah.
A long time ago in a
really
galaxy far, far away, you'd see him in direct...
We don't even know how much in contact he is with Star Citizen anymore. Is he just laser focused on Squadron? I mean, it feels like that's what the company's focused on, so I'm sure Chris is.
communication with the community. You may use the bullshit excuse, well, the company has grown exponentially. He doesn't have the time. He's a busy man. Fair enough. Whatever makes you wet at night. But I have a challenge for you, little Chris, and all the dumbass whales you bred. Why don't you do a live stream like a Q&A? That too much to ask? And I'm not talking about Star Citizen Live where they repeat 1,000.
Okay, he said he was around for 6 years, right? There's a real reason why he doesn't come on camera anymore. Because he can't get past the visionary shit. And I think the best example of the last time he was like truly on camera outside of CitizenCon, do you guys remember Patch Watch, or what were those videos called? It was a long time ago. It was like 3.9 or something. He would like sit down with the other directors, like his brother and oh yeah, Pillar Talk. That's what it was called. Pillar Talk. And he would sit down there and he would talk about 3.9. Do you know this dude in the last Pillar Talk talked about base building? It was 3.9. He was talking about like the persistence and all this stuff, because he can't get past like the big picture. So he always is talking about these things that are just like never going to happen, and they have so many hurdles to climb over to make them happen, that the way he communicates was just so bad for the company. I legitimately think people at the company told him he is no longer allowed to talk anymore. You could talk at CitizenCon because that's literally Sunday for the churchgoers of the church of Chris Roberts, right? That's the one time a year you go to church, and that's the one time the pastor comes out and talks to you. But outside of that, he's not allowed to talk, is my guess. And then he does his little letters from the chairman where they're, looked over by 35 people and they still get it fucking wrong every time. But
Sometimes
still.
how, look at us, no other developer does that, blah, 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 blah. I'm talking about taking questions from outside Spectrum. Ever seen Chris do that? Star Citizen is like a man who beats his wife and then does something nice to her the very next day, so everything is water under bridge. CIG will constantly do breach of trust kind of shit and then release something nice in a patch so everything goes back to normal and the kids are happy again. The Star Citizen whales might be whales, but they have a memory of a goldfish.
Yeah, that's the worm now for people, I think.
Star Citizen has gone full corporate and behaved exactly like companies like Apple or other giants. What once was a small-scale, passionate group of like-minded individuals is now a business that runs entirely by treating its customers as statistics.
Yep.
To wrap this up, I don't think anyone will watch this video, and I'm expecting the whales to come here and insult me or say shit to me, but that is okay.
Well, buddy, that's about to change. We're going to go ahead and share that link to you guys again. I like this guy. Here's the link to the video. I think all of you should go there. It's only 6 minutes long. Give it another watch if you want, because I talked over it 30 times. And click the like button if you enjoyed it. And subscribe to this guy if you really think it's a fun channel to watch. So far, he's got the what's that one guy who does the League of Legends like MMO content, with the hat and he just like walks around with the little mic in his hand. He's giving that vibe a little bit, but yeah.
Each one of you whales that hate me, there will be
It has
100
zero
non-citizens.
It literally only had 22 views and it's 6 days old. Brand new channel. Just my YouTube algorithm is very deep down the Star Citizen rabbit hole. Yeah, Nakrit, exactly. He's giving me Nakrit vibes. Also, squeaks, yeah. But so far, it's a pretty good video, and it's kind of on point.
Will back me up, so take your best shot. This channel was created for the sole purpose of enlightening the world about the fact that Jesus will eventually return, but he won't be as nice as you thought he would, and in the end, my friends, you're still gonna burn in the pay-to-win hell.
Okay. I just don't like religious stuff, even though it's like not meant to be. But outside of that, that was pretty good. Church of Star Citizen. Church of Star Citizen. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm going to hit subscribe. I'm going to like. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it goes well for him. And hopefully he keeps making some pretty good videos and is respectfully critical. Because when you're not respectfully critical, nobody listens. That's for sure. I've learned that lesson is anytime I go a little too overboard, it immediately pushes people away, and you never get the point that you're trying to make across. So hopefully he does. And yeah, pretty good.